got 90% more marks, I take very pity with those type of thinking. So our system, I will say, that is having the ailing with the three bad R's. Is ailing with the three bad R's. One R is, of course, the regimentation, regulations, absolute regimentation from top. You cannot look into beyond this. Then, of course, the restriction and repetition. These are three bad R, which is ailing our school educations in India. So it is the instructionism, and only instructionism is happening in our schools. And you know what do you mean by the instructionism? That knowledge is a collection of facts and procedures, that learning is confined to the prescribed curriculum and textbooks, and learners memorize facts and carry out procedures without knowing as to why or how. This is the way that a school education is going on. Let us have a quick reality checkup. Where do you stand internationally? Where do we stand internationally today? Yes, we have very good content, but information-rich curricula, very widespread, very extensive, but not much in depth, not even updated regularly. Yes, we have a very good achievement of our students in language, maths, and ICT, but there is no creativity, no imagination in our classroom. Motivated students, no doubt, but the extrinsic goals of performance override the intrinsic goals of learning. So there is a clash between performance and learning, and we pay highest premium to performance, and that's why the learning is not happening. And of course, a reasonably good system. Yes, our system is reasonably good, which gives a fair amount of autonomy to the private players. But are we enjoying that autonomy? That's my question. Are we enjoying that? I will explain about this autonomy, how you can actually enjoy that autonomy. So that is a quick reality checkup. So imagination is not happening in our classroom, and we forget that it is the imagination which will lead to innovation later on. Innovation then will lead to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship and creativity will then lead to income generation among students later on in their life. And the income generation will finally lead to better quality of life and higher quality of life. And that is the very intention of providing them the good education. So we need to ensure that imagination are happening in our classrooms. And imagination comes from reading, from creative session, from brainstorming, articulation, exploration. So now question again, are we allowing such things in our classroom? Or are we busy with just covering the syllabus and not discovering or uncovering it? We often say we don't have the time and space to discover the syllabus. We need to be honest in this respect. And we often give such excuses. Large class size, which may not be true in case of boarding schools. Limited resources, which may not be also true in case of boarding schools. And of course, paucity of time. We need to see whether we will actually having paucity of time. And after having the quick reality checkup, let us look into where the weaknesses lies. Where the weaknesses lies. The first is, of course, the people. The people. When I talk about the people, it's the teachers, head of the institutions, and the immediate community. That is the people I'm talking about. Yes, our teachers are becoming semi-skilled over a period of time. And we just do not need good teachers. We need great teachers. Because great teachers are the reason for ordinary students to dream and to do extraordinary things. We also need outstanding leaders, because we often know that effective leaders develop outstanding schools. And the vice versa is true, that all outstanding schools have effective leaders. The processes, what processes we are actually implementing in the school? Are we creating academic environment in true sense? And the product, if we ensure that students are the product, if we believe, that's not the correct terminology I am using, but if we that we need to ensure that when our students after 6, 8, or 10 years of schooling, when they graduate from our school, they become competent, confident, and a committed citizen. We look into all these three aspects to ensure quality education and in order to uplift our school to the next level. You may be knowing that there are about 260,000 secondary and senior secondary schools in India. And out of these, 96% of the schools are still at education 1.0 level or below. It is only 3 to 4% of schools which have reached to the education 2.0 level. Though there are some schools which have reached to the education 3.0 level, but I could not have the chance to look into that, those schools which have reached to the education 3.0 level. And now globally we are talking about education 4.0 level. So what does this lead to? The situation is like this. Only surface learning is happening, no conceptual understanding. Creativity of learners is not encouraged. Examinations are giving undue importance, and the schools are becoming centers of curriculum delivery rather than centers of curriculum co-creation and curriculum excellence. That curriculum co-creation I will talk a little bit later on. So it is only the mods and mods are happening. It is only the mods, M-O-T-S, more of the same. And we need to have a shift from mods to HOTS. Higher order thinking skills in curriculum design, higher order thinking skills in curriculum transaction, and higher order thinking skills in curriculum evaluation. That shifts we need to have. I'm giving one example. We can have a frontline curriculum approach in curriculum design, at least in the subjects of science and technology, in classes from classes 5 to 9, and add newer knowledge inputs, like I have mentioned, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, cyber security, virtual reality, augmented reality, genomics, can be a part of our curriculum, integrated into the curriculum as an interdisciplinary approach. The two words I'm using simultaneously. Integrating into the curriculum and having an interdisciplinary approach. This newer knowledge inputs needs to be given. And simultaneously removing the obsolete one, because so that there is no totality of bag load or transactional load. You may not be realizing that 40% of the content that we are teaching today have already become obsolete. And we are still teaching them to our students. And they have to become global citizens. Now, if you look into the global perspective, schools are transforming itself from top-down prescriptive model of curriculum to co-creating curriculum, that school-based curriculum effort. From delivering content to building capacity of the learners, to building the generic skills of the learner. From generalized teaching to personalized learning, and from standard operating procedures to creative adaptations. This is the key global shifts in school educations. So what is required now? Looking into this, what is required now? Let us have an open-ended curriculum so that we can have a curriculum excellence. Greater emphasis on the open-ended curriculum. Larger scope for hands-on activities and hands-on experience. Focus on observations, reflections, articulation. That is the inductive learning I am indicating, not the deductive learning which is happening in our classrooms, in our schools. And then, of course, greater attention to teacher development, because as I have already said, that we need to have great teachers and not just good teachers. Better application of technology at all levels of teaching, learning, and assessment. And of course, the focus should be on life-oriented education rather than the examinations-oriented education, which is now happening today. So thus, in order to measure globally, our task of reinventing education should to a great extent focus on content, teachers, processes of curriculum delivery, and curriculum assessment. The 4 areas I think we need to look into. But before that, there are areas of concern, and we need to address those areas of concern. Unless and unless we do that, we cannot ensure quality framework in our school education. What are the areas of concern? Yes, limited vision, fossilized belief system, which keeps faith on rigid framework of core curriculum, and of course the overemphasis on the left brain, that needs to be removed. And of course the homework, yes, what kind and how much, or after class work we call it, what kind and how much. Can you have an alternative to homework which is more fun and interactive? Differential learning is a challenge catering to high achievers and slow learners in the same class. That's another areas of concern. Innovative pedagogical practices, which is not happening simply because our teachers either are not skilled enough, or we follow the structured programs because that are easily manageable, because we look like to remain in the comfort zone. So all this lead to the lateral and the divergent thinking are being neglected. So here lies the importance of your leadership. Yes, here lies the importance of your leadership. I must tell you that educational leadership is an intelligent job. It is not for weak-minded. Because you have to play all the three roles of educational leadership.